Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, and I need to put the mic on. Okay, there we go. The vision is the thing. That's one of the keys to leadership. We've heard a couple of nuggets from the presenters before me. Michelle talked about several different aspects of what you need to do to make yourself be strong to be a leader. And Pat talked about a woman who was the epitome of leadership, who had lots of different things against her, but managed to overcome that because she was focused and knew what was right. But another component of leadership is vision. Now, Fannie Lou Hamer had that. What are you striving for? What are you looking to accomplish? As a leader, that's a key aspect of what you're going to do in order to persuade people, to motivate people, to help you achieve an end result. Vision, visualization. Can you see it? Vision is about what's the goal, and can you see what that's going to be? Does anyone remember the movie Space Jam? Yeah. Got Michael Jordan, got Bugs Bunny, great combination. Had a lot of great music in that movie. I Believe I Can Fly. Would people remember that song by R. Kelly? So there is a lyric, let's see if anyone can guess it, who remembers the song, that ties to vision, visualization, and can you see it? So does anyone remember the lyric?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
If I can see it.
Thank you. All right, let's do that last lyric. If I just believe it. So the point here is if you can see what you're looking to accomplish, you know where you're going. But then you have to be able to explain that to other people. And that's what is a key aspect to leadership, the vision. 3 aspects to the vision thing that I want to discuss. So first, conviction or passion. Clarity, that goes back to, do you see what you're looking to achieve? And then lastly, people. So first, let's talk about conviction. So yeah, that's me, right there to the right. So this is the end result of a year when I was the co-editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper. We're all happy here, this is great, we won some awards, but the year didn't start off that way. So the summer before I became the co-editor-in-chief, I read all these books in the Queens Public Library about journalism. There were about 15 of them. They talked about how to set up the newspaper, how do you do feature articles, how do you do news articles, how do you do sports articles, the whole shebang. I wanted to make the newspaper this better, more exciting newspaper than it had been before. And I had a tool, a computer. This is 1989, and for those of you who are similarly situated, we did not have computers, you didn't have laptops, you didn't have iPads. So the newspaper had a computer, and it had a program that would allow us to put the paper together on the computer. What we had been doing was we had these mag cards that you had to put into this machine that was like this high, and you had to put them in the right order, because if you didn't, it didn't print the newspaper the right way. So I was armed with the information about how to create a great newspaper. I had a tool that would allow me to do it, and I had passion. I was convicted or convincing, and I had conviction about wanting to make this newspaper great. But the newspaper had a moderator. And I went to a Catholic school. Her name was Sister Ann O'Brien. Sister Ann O'Brien had been the moderator of the newspaper for about a decade. She didn't ask for the computer. The computer was provided to the newspaper as being a tool for us to be able to move away from the machine. However, she did not know how to use the computer. And if she couldn't use the computer, no one else could. So I said, well, I have this great plan about how we're going to put the newspaper together. And she's like, no, you're going to have to put it together using this device. Asked her again, oh, I have this plan. I can show you how to use the computer. People come in to help us. She said no. The third time I asked her, she fired me from the newspaper. I was no longer the editor, co-editor-in-chief of the newspaper. During that time, I had been having some conversations with another senior leader in the organization at the high school. And he would ask me, well, how's the newspaper going? How's Stan O'Brien? Are you using the computer? And so when I got fired, I went down to his office and I explained what happened. He knew that I was very passionate about the newspaper. I shared with him my ideas about what I wanted to do. And so he spoke to the moderator, and she still didn't want to use the computer, and she was removed. So the lesson to be learned from that is a great leader's courage to fulfill his or her vision comes from passion, not position. I wasn't the moderator, but I had been speaking to someone who knew I was so passionate about making this newspaper great that he saw that the future was to use the computer and make the newspaper a place that was moving ahead and not being held back by someone whose vision was more narrow. So next, let's talk about clarity. That's that vision piece of knowing exactly, or some really strong idea about what you want to do. So you may be wondering, what's that? Sorry, move back. This is a sweat top from a competition that I went to, the annual championship for the National Forensics Association in 1993. When I went to college, my college did not have a forensics association. So for some of you who may not be familiar with that, that's speech and debate. So impromptu speaking, extemporaneous speaking, dramatic interpretation. My college did not have one. I'm like, well, how could that be? So I went to the dean of the school and I had asked, well, can we start this organization? And he said, well, there are two other organizations that do things very similar to what you're talking about. So we really don't need to have another organization. So my job, I had the passion, but now I need to have clarity. How was the organization that I wanted to create different from the two other organizations that were very similar in the minds of the dean? I had to explain that this wasn't about policy debate. It wasn't about parliamentary debate, which is what he thought this organization was very similar to. It was a range of different public speaking types of events that were not already present on campus. I also said we were going to raise our own money by going to different schools, high schools, and judging those competitions, because you could get paid for that. And then the last component was we were going to do outreach to the community and teach at high schools and set up forensics programs. So with that and some additional lobbying and getting some other folks on board who saw that vision and the clear outline of what I was trying to convey as a different program, we were able to get the dean to approve to have a forensics association at my college. It didn't last too much longer after I left, probably about 2 or 3 years, but the point of this and the lesson learned is leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. So that clarity, first I had the passion, the conviction, I had the clarity about what I wanted to achieve. With that, I was able to persuade the dean that there were some others who felt similarly as I did about having this organization, and so we were able to create that reality. Now, you may notice that there's a sequence to this. So first I was in high school, now I'm in college, and so the last piece is now is a lawyer. This is from the webpage of the New York State Bar Association in 2008. In 2007, I became the chair of the Committee on Women in the Law. That committee focused on women's issues in the law from 2 perspectives. One was dealing with how women from a policy perspective were treated in the law. Pay equity. How are women being treated in discrimination matters? So there was a policy component to it. But there was also another component as it related to women's practice in the law. How are we advancing in the law? At the time that I was appointed to the committee as the chair, the president felt that that committee was not really living up to its potential, that there was more work that needed to be done. And she wanted to have a person come in and provide some clarity to what the work of that organization was doing. So one of the things that I thought would be important about creating some clarity for this organization and also energizing some of the members. They had been involved, they really enjoyed the work, but they didn't really see where the committee was going. Like, what were the programs that we really need to do to advance our mission? What were new things that we can do that would be great for us as members of this committee, as well as giving back to the members for the New York State Bar Association? One of the things that I thought would be key to that is having a CLE program that would focus on the second half of what the committee does, which is about professional development and women's advancement in the legal profession. The members of the committee were like, oh, well, that sounds like a good idea. And I said, well, I want it to be a half-day session. Oh, a half-day session? We've never had a half-day session before. That's going to be a lot of work. I'm like, but it's important that we have a program that allows women to come in and get CLE credits and to be able to work on those types of skills to help them advance in the profession. So where does the people part come in? I needed to have someone, I was the chair, I needed to have the right people who would be able to understand what the vision was for this committee and for this particular program in order to execute it. I had some naysayers on the committee, but I knew that I had two people who I thought would be able to accomplish this. So one to the left, she happens to be my best friend, so we think a lot alike, but her name is Aramika Brown, and I had her as one co-chair because I knew that she understood what I was seeking to accomplish. The other person is Anna Park. Anna called me the day before the committee appointments were made, and she said, I just found out about this. I really want to do this work. Will you please take me on to be on your committee? And I'm like, wow, she called me, and she was really passionate about being on the committee. So I said, I'm going to take her, because if she went through that much effort to find me and to ask me to be on the committee, I said, she's the kind of person that has the energy and the passion to make sure that things happen. So I put the two of them together. I knew she was passionate, but I didn't really know her. Aramika I knew. So I said, if I put the two of them together, one who understands me and one who has the energy to be able to make this a reality, then we'll be able to have the program. And so where I started was what they put together. It was the first time we had that. They were able to get the first female brigadier general to come and speak at the event. And so what does that say as far as a lesson learned? With conviction and clarity and vision, people, because you can't make this happen unless you have people who are working with you to make it a reality. So I think my time has elapsed. So I will end with this quotation. Vision is the key to leadership. You have to be able to tell people what's important. They have to see your passion about it. You have to be clear about what it is in order to get them to help you make it a reality. On one hand, you have President Obama, who talked about hope and being change and there being hope. On the other hand, you have Let's Make America Great Again. Both instances, it was clear, they were passionate, and people felt motivated and energized about the vision that they were showing for the future. But the components that I just talked about were summarized by Jack Welch, who was the GE CEO, former CEO of GE. And he said, good, and I took out business, but good leaders, because this applies regardless of whether you're in business, in the public sector, private sector, even in your own home. Create a vision, they articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion.